Hi and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Monday, March 14th, 2022. And the topic for the day is called Sky Colors. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening February 20th through March 13th, 2022. And this is show number 148. Now, yes, I did spell colors with a U. Deal with it. Just kidding. Yes, I'm in the United States, but I deliberately spell colors with a U because I like when you break that word down. UCOURS at the end, meaning ours. And there are some little kind of undercurrent themes running through the show involving what does it mean to go home, or what does home mean, and family. And, what is it that we are here? If you expand the notion of home to being our connection with the earth or each other, then this really is about something that is all of ours, not a specific country or nation or imaginary line drawn on a map. When all land, all of the earth and sky, water, everything, it's all of ours. We're all one with it. That's my feeling anyway. But anyway, we're going to get into the show a little bit further. We are going to look at some interesting things that kind of go all over the place, just because, as always, I put on on my shows whatever I feel guided to do. And then I cover all of these wild sky observations, things that are popping up in our skies of late, anomalies, oddities, things that shouldn't be there if we are looking at everything that we've been told. And as Yoda once said in The Empire Strikes Back, you must unlearn what you have learned. And that's where we're at these days. We have been taught and programmed and indoctrinated with so many falsehoods, it's not even funny. And now's the time to scrap all of those, start with a clean slate, and really question everything. Really listen to everything, all points of view, because there is a little particle or smidgen of truth in anything that is said or written or done. And then you just kind of sift through all of that and put together what your own story is and your own view and perspective on things, and then that's equally valid. So anyway, let's move along. I was so fortunate and happy to kind of happen upon a Celtic Music Fest this weekend, and I would not have caught it if I were still in South Florida. I've kind of been under kind of some unfortunate circumstances, been residing in North Florida for about a month now, just temporarily. We had some kind of tragic news in the family and are working through that, and I've been helping people through that. And so that's why I'm here. But if I weren't here, the silver lining is I got to attend this fest, which was just gorgeous and glorious and free. Everybody happy and smiling. So no fear. Anyone, if you found this channel, if you don't know what I'm all about, just go see some previous shows. But it'll be clear what my point of view on things going on in the world are right now. But live free, breathe free, get out there, live. It was a gorgeous day, beautiful music and people, just a warm spirit, kind-hearted spirit from everyone. And that was just such an honor and privilege to partake in, just as a guest strolling through. So yes, I'm going to start off. It's a Celtic Fest. We do have St. Patrick's Day coming up on the 17th, and this was a festival celebrating, I guess, everything Celtic, Gaelic, essentially pre-Roman conquest. And so it was wonderful, especially hearing the bagpipes. Whether you have any ties to that part of the world, I think if you have a soul, that music has to work on you, hearing the pipes. But anyway, I'm just including now, as the Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day, page 1, just some excerpts from the song Scotland the Brave by Robert Wilson. And if you don't know it, or don't think you know it, if you just go online and listen to it, you'll say, oh, that's what Scotland the Brave is. I pretty much think that 99.9% of the people on here, if you're watching the show, probably have heard the tune, at least in some part of it, in some measurement of it. But anyway, what jumped out at me when I was looking at the lyrics, decided to look there. I just wanted to include a couple of the verses. Just very quickly, I'll read it. High in the misty highlands, out by the purple islands, brave are the hearts that beat beneath Scottish skies. Wild are the winds to meet you, staunch are the friends that greet you. Kind is the love that shines from fair maidens' eyes. Far off in sunlit places, sad are the Scottish faces, yearning to feel the kiss of sweet Scottish rain. Where tropic skies are beaming, love sets the heart a-dreaming, longing and dreaming for the homeland again. Now, I did just highlight hearts, love, and home because, again, those are going to be little undercurrent through the show. And I normally open up with the greetings from around the world here, but I'm going to leave those off for today because there's a lot of ground to cover, a lot of skies to cover, and I don't have much time to record this, so I don't want to kind of rush it too much, so we'll keep going. Now, sorry, back up here, I don't remember which clan this is, which kind of family name this is associated with. I'm sure somebody out there will say right away, hey, no, this is no big deal. This is what it is. Well, I don't remember, but anyway, I just like the spirit of this tribe, this clan, pattern. Standing up and out in the sun. So stand strong, fly your colors. We are all the tapestry. So I want to say that when I say fly your colors, I'm not even talking about a country's colors. I don't even want to hear about countries anymore, really, and their flags. When you go back deeper into the meaning of the symbolism and the colors used in a flag, just take any country, there is just a spirit of, let's just say, not what we all think the spirit of our country and what we identify with our countries are. So I want to get back to, we are all one. There's one of us in the room, Neil Donald Walsh came out with that at a lecture that I attended, and there really is just one of us in the room. If we consider that we are all the God spark, just coming from Source, and we're just a little different aspects of that being expressed. And so we are all the tapestry, and what I want to say that our colors truly are not only even, take it a step away from the country's flags, but and even into the tartans here. Our colors are our very essence, and especially if you look into auras and the chakras and all the different colors that are within our little energetic wheels, energetic centers within us. That's really, I think, if we take it even deeper, what our colors are. So when I say fly your colors, I mean let your colors, your inner essence, fly. Okay, so let's keep going. Now we'll kind of cover the little Irish respect here aspect of things. So on this one, I just want to say, stand mighty, your colors fly. Fly the color of love. And we have, of course, this ladybug perched here on the four-leaf clover. Now here, what caught my attention, just to celebrate all things Celtic, Gaelic pre-Roman conquest, I want to just do a little excerpt from A Little Bit of Heaven, sung with music by Ernest R. Ball and lyrics by J. Karen Brennan from 1914. And here's the excerpt. So they sprinkled it with stardust just to make the shamrocks grow. 'Tis the only place you'll find them, no matter where you go. Then they dotted it with silver to make its lakes so grand, and when they had it finished, sure, they called it Ireland. So happy St. Patrick's Day coming up. Happy everything to everybody if you're watching the show. All right, now I do recommend that you check out some channels and podcasts and some specific shows that came to my attention over the last month, and especially this one up here in the upper left. It's Naughty Beaver and the Nostradamus Prophecies. If you look him up, he is actually Canada-based, if you look him up on YouTube, but he's also on BitChute for some of the things that get, wiped off or censored off of YouTube, and this show is really great to catch. The reward for those on Earth that refuse the mark of the beast. Within that show, he references Marina Jacobi, and she is actually really incredible. I just caught this show of hers after being tipped off about her in the first place from over here at Naughty Beaver. And this particular show, it's called Create Your Blueprint DNA with Automatic Writing, and it's labeled S5E9. Catch that show if you like. There's a lot of amazing things that she speaks about in there. And she can be found on the YouTube channel called The Harmonic Reactor. And then I've mentioned the final days before. Definitely catch this channel. It was previously known as Universal News Media. She had to change it, I think, in 2018 when censorship got too intense. And right here, it says this is eclipsing our moon and sun. Just watch. I want to let you know at the very end of my show, I have caught now what she has been catching for some time now, because I was lucky enough to find it in North Florida. South Florida is so heavily sprayed, I can never get good access to view that. And so I finally did. And it's just coincidentally at the end of the show. I don't put it there on purpose to string you along. Feel free to jump to the end. I don't care. Take or leave whatever I'm telling you out of any of this on the show. But at the end is where I have the evidence matching up with hers here, because I just take the images and run through the show sequentially. So this happened to be something I just found last night where I was going through my editing of the attributes process when I look at photos and enhance them, and it popped out. And so evidence of this. So do take a look at the end of this show. Then I want to send you over to, if you have a moment, to a wonderful podcast. It shows up on a ton of platforms such as Spotify and Buzzsprout, called Yowie Central, and Sarah over there does a tremendous job with some fascinating shows of all kinds of topics. Go check it out. She's based in Australia, and I happen to be a guest featured recently on episode 104, and I did also appear in episode number 66, and I even joke about the numerology of 66 and talk about the positive aspects of that. So anyway, catch those if you like, if you feel so guided. All right, now this seems maybe perhaps a little bit random, as they say, but this is really important. This also crossed my radar recently, and since I have been on quite a hiatus, I'm kind of trying to jam a bunch in this show to catch up on things. But I want to say, I'll just read this straight out. And this message is for you or anyone you know who is struggling while trying to help others as caregivers of family and friends who have mental illness, including Alzheimer's, dementia, brain damage, etc. Please see this extremely helpful, important link below and share it far and wide as guided. Now, it's simply www.agingcare.com/caregiver-forum. Now, it's important to get to the forum on this link. That's the key thing to go look at this website. Because on that caregiver-forum, there are people all over the world who are writing in the comment sections what they're going through, tips, things to help, and things just to tell you you are not alone, and help you with your own sanity while you're dealing with your loved ones, dealing with mental illness. Now, it can also be brain damage from any number of things. Surgery's gone wrong. The injections going around these days in the past 2 years, you know what I mean, are causing horrific side effects and acceleration of brain damage that I've noticed personally in family and friends. And so this is becoming on the rise, these issues, and where, if you become suddenly a caregiver, this can really help you and save you a lot of time and money going to therapy and whatever else. Just take a look here at the Caregiver Forum. Okay, we're going to move on now and look at the sky observation. So as I've said, again, thank you for being here and welcome if you're new or returning. I'm not going to go through my typical little rundown of what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it and how I'm doing it. I invite you to look at previous shows because I do want to get through this whole show without rushing, and I'm seeing my time is kind of running out to do that. So anyway, I will just say, as I mentioned, I have an original photo here, and then what I'll do is I'll enhance it, and that simply means that I'm taking the original photo and editing attributes of it, such as color, saturation, contrast, and brightness. And that's really it. I may play a bit with the color temperature, and that's all. I will float in some letters to kind of highlight key areas of the photos, so just to kind of help me keep on track and not lose sight of some of the big things. It is possible I might miss something when I go through and narrate in detail these observations that I'm having. I will do this on a laptop-sized screen. And so if you're having a small handheld device and watching this in something that's kind of in a more of a thumbnail format and scale, you're going to see a lot of different things pop out at you than what you do if you have a bigger screen to look at. So as always, I invite you, if you are fortunate enough to have a larger screen plus a small handheld device type screen at your disposal, just kind of put them one above the other and toggle your view from looking up and down between the two different scales, and then you'll see a whole bunch of things yourself popping out. And as always, you can mute whatever I'm going through and see if you can pick out the fun stuff on your own as we go along, just for sport or for fun. So anyway, the date and time stamps are below. I try to keep those accurate. You may notice I might flub it up here or there, but it's really no big deal. And so let's get into it. So this is actually when I was still in Miami in February, and we're looking to the southwest in the skies before sunset, so around 4:30 p.m. Now this is what caught my attention. So I've caught this numerous times before. We're looking toward the western sky. Again, I'm in the northern hemisphere. This is based in Miami, Florida, subtropical to tropical climate. And so what I noticed is, this standalone object Now, at first, so that clearly is not the sun, because the sun, there's a brighter, glaring, light source beyond it. And so this, I thought, was maybe some artificial or, just natural celestial body that was orbiting the quote unquote sun. And I say quote and unquote sun because I do refer to this when it's white and glaring like this as the solar simulator or effects of an artificial sun and projection, tech, all kinds of solar tech up there to create this effect. I go over that on other shows. I'm going to touch on it now because it becomes important and relevant at the end of this show. But that's all to make the effects of our sun controllable. And so you'll notice that this might, get really large and glare out most of the sky, the brightness, or it might shrink down to a pinhole, all within a matter of minutes. And that means it's being controlled by technology. So there's enough proof and evidence all over the place for that. I'm not going to go into it now. If that concept is new to you, though, however, do look at some of my previous shows that touch on this. But better yet, take a look at that Final Days channel I already covered just on YouTube. She goes over exactly how this is being pulled off. And I'll even give you a direct show to take a look at, further in this show. So all that to say, we have this strange phenomenon happening once again, very directly observable. This is just taken with an old Android camera phone. Anyway, we're going to move on and look at it with enhancement, and what becomes extremely telling, and this is kind of a little excerpt, a little, I cropped this to put on the cover of the show. What's very telling are the color signatures. So if you've looked at any of my other shows, I really talk about not only oddities that you can like glaringly, pun intended, actually maybe there is, pun intended here, of glaring things that just jump out at you like that's odd, that doesn't belong in our sky. I've lived on this planet for many decades. I've always been keenly aware of my environment and looking at the skies. I spent 10 hours a day as a kid running around outside all day long practically, really looking at everything. I've lived in many other cities around the world and noticed those skies as well. And this just is not normal, okay? I don't even want to use the word normal anymore, but this is a very atypical activity. And so we're not only looking at weird objects and things and cloud consistencies and things that look like artificial clouds even these days, but also color signatures, and especially when we get pops of, like in this case, this really warm red signature where it really doesn't belong, and yet it's kind of got a clear demarcation line of this thing that is happening behind it. Then we get this other dark mass blackout, and then we have this like ethereal, almost white, blue, cyan stuff happening. So it's a lot of different color going on all right in the little same local neighborhood. So that raises flags to me left and right, plus for reasons that I cover in my previous shows. So we're going to zoom in a little bit and look at this. You have a clear line. This would not happen with our natural sun. Our natural sun was soft and glowing, slightly pulsing naturally. It had a very healing light coming out of it, and now all of this mess, it's a very artificial feeling heat and emanating out of it, and light. So I even know people locally who aren't even aware of these strange things going on in the sky, and they just say, oh, yeah, my sunburn felt like I got microwaved. It doesn't feel like the sunburns I remember, and that's because we do have a definite change happening in the skies. All right, now we'll keep going. And here we're still looking southwest, and what caught my attention was this kind of overall triangular pattern and then like a diamond-like pattern happening, and other weird things happening in the sky. So we take a look at the right-hand side at the enhanced version, and then we'd clearly see backlit objects that are symmetrical. Look at B.1, that's a triangular form, very symmetrical, straight edges. That does not occur, I'm going to repeat myself ad nauseum, that does not occur in skies. We don't have triangular forms, pure diamond shapes, and other things that I've been catching on these shows. Anyway, we look at the color signatures, and it appears there's just this big red-pink glow, while we have a golden and white one down here. Why? That's not some defect in the camera. This is picking up other signatures. Now, I cover this in other shows. So also when you see this kind of choppy, fuzzy effect, I call that the staccato cloud effect, where I believe that we're dealing with cloak and craft above, that are being cloaked, that are, just by virtue of how they operate naturally, or maybe it's intentional, frequencies are being sent out of some type, whether it's electromagnetic wave activity, some kind of radio frequencies, or just something else. Heat, just kind of heat coming off of these things. Something is happening, to create that warm reddish pink effect. And so I invite you to look at the description box below. I talk about what also could be happening and creating that red pink effect. And we'll keep going for now. So we're going to zoom in, and here's B.2 now. Look at this. That is a pure symmetrical shape, triangular in form, does not occur in natural cloud systems. And by the way, we also have this on a different angle with a very specific shape happening next to it. And again, these things just don't, occur in a natural cloud system in this area of the world especially. We would always have maybe puffy white cumulus clouds that would kind of just drift along slowly, or we would have maybe some stratocumulus or stratocirrus clouds, but they look nothing like this. That's all I'm going to say for now. I covered this so much on other shows. We're going to take another little view here. So we were like over here somewhere. So here's that triangle, and then things have kind of morphed and changed. But look at this thing. Look at this incised ring. Looks like over here at letter A. And then something here at C looks like this is artificial. We got a very straight edge here and a straight edge over here. And it looks like C just kind of glided in and created a swath or a trail behind it. So we're going to take a look at that with some enhancement. And look at 8.1. It's very clear something odd is really happening up in here. Look at this. And then at C.1, I think it further illustrates the point that this thing kind of zoomed in here. There might even be another object here cloaking behind here. And we see kind of like a little swath, coming in behind it. Regardless, it's strange. It's not normal cloud activity with these straight edges. All right, then we're going to jump up to North Florida. And this is just looking west. I'm not going to enhance this one. I just was noticing how odd and huge, the supposed sun was behaving. And then it just like cuts off with this cloud and then, acts differently here at the top. Anyway, all very odd. That's all I wanted to say about that one, but we'll move along. All right, this is also strange. Now North Florida looking northwest. And yeah, I've never seen skies do this. I've never seen clouds. These look either artificial or supernatural. I have an earlier show called Sky Wisps, and it covers what these things could also be, if it's more of a supernatural effect or phenomenon, or if this is just artificially created, So anyway, we have a geometry working here, an elongated, trapezoid is kind of forming there. And just look how this is like arcing and moving in all different directions. Again, our natural clouds don't do that. There's nothing natural about that. From our known vocabulary, if we look back at what we've been told different cloud types are. And this is just with some enhancement. I took all color out. Sometimes it helps the brain and eye connection. Brain to eye connection, just help us see things in a new way and put things together in a different way. And here there's just so much odd movement, and cloud densities, and look how this is all frayed and moving around in odd ways. So anyway, see what you see in this scene. All right, now we're going to look at the enhanced versions above, the originals below. This is a panorama, so it's a little bit distorted in the view, but you get the gist. So looking at the bottom, like we have this glare out, okay, then we have this weird swath of something, artificial stuff coming out over it. And then look at this is trailing off at a totally different angle, as if like right in here is the epicenter of something, and we have something shooting out this way and this way. And then we have this weird, activity with a very sharp line happening here as well. So what the heck is going on? Then we get all these waves and ripple effects going in all different directions and different densities and different rates of frequency if something's generating them. So this thing is one big enigma, one big puzzle. We look up at the top view. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. I have to get a grip on my voice. Pardon if it kind of goes out. I've been up insanely late, so the voice may or may not hold. We'll see. But anyway, we go up to the enhanced version here, and look at, we get, again, the red and pinks, some golden things, but just what an odd collection of, look at B.1 also looks like maybe there's a triangular form kind of hidden in here. I also talk about cloaking material. I don't think I mentioned up front at the show. It's going to be anything that kind of clings around some cloaking objects. That's I refer to it as plasma, the material. Cloaking material being anything heavier and denser than just regular water vapor, that can cling and hang in the sky for quite a bit. and that's what I think might be happening here around this at B.1. But it's a little hard to tell, so we'll try to look for some better examples. But one thing for sure, there's no way that you're going to have stuff, shooting off in this direction and the same sky shooting off in a wholly different direction like this. That's just not a natural phenomenon. Okay, now I'm looking over toward the southwest, and again we've got a little bit of a distortion with the panorama, but you get the idea. And again we've got that white glaring ball that cannot be our true golden original sun. Something hiding it, affects technology kind of hiding the original beyond. And we just get weird cloud, quote unquote cloud activity, these weird trails again, and just all different movement all over the place. Just so it shows that there's nothing truly natural about that sky. We're going to zoom in a bit. Hold on, we'll go back. We're going to zoom in this little area A, and then, oh, I think I mislabeled these, but oh well. But here we have, again, kind of a sharp edge. I suspect there's a triangle and angle back in there being kind of obscured by whatever's going on here. And then how do you have something kind of on angle like that, something like moving along with weird ripple patterns this way? Look at all these intense, like tiny ripple patterns. And then you have this thing like swerving down vertical. Like you never have something coming horizontal and then vertical in a natural cloud system. And then these weird trails going off in yet wholly a different direction. So again, see what you can find in here. I'll leave this up to you to kind of explore on your own time when you have a little more time to go through it and see if you find any other interesting things happening, especially if you have a smaller scale. I'm looking at this bigger scale. I have a feeling if I was looking at a thumbnail size, I might pick out much more in that scene. All right, now we're going to keep looking south-southwest, and look at this. I mean, this was my alternate cover slide. First of all, the shape of this has a hard edge going, banking back like dog-legging here, almost like a notch out of a right angle. And look at this. There's no way something is going to shoot up off this way and then go back that way in a natural sky. And then we got all these strange ripples, like very elongated going this way, and then rippling yet a different way here. What's going on here locally? I think we can agree that's not like a natural event. And then up here we start to see sky imprints. So this is looking very rectilinear here, beyond some of this like cloaking and smoke and mirror stuff going on in the sky. So we look at it with some kind of extreme enhancement this time, just to really pick out these stark elements popping up, things that just kind of really don't seem to fit. And again, look at the color signatures and where they are and where they are not, and see what you can find in that scene. Now here we're looking one more time, zoomed in on that little curious element at the bottom, and again, there's just nothing natural about this at all. And one more time, really zooming in. That's not how a normal cloud behaves. And then what is this? There's something directly like either flying into it or flying out of it, or they're both flying it. Do we have something shooting at it? I mean, we really have to open up our minds and look at this from a galactic point of view, where if there's a larger cloaking craft back in there, or even smaller ones, are we looking at something actually shooting at this thing, or vice versa? I mean, what's this weird little element? It looks pretty solid and has direct form and shape to it. Again, see what you think is going on here. It's very curious. We've got like these two spike things that again are symmetrical about this form that really look like they could be projecting something out of there. See what you think though. And then we're going to look at this little scene, this little number looking east. And we're going to look at elements A and B. I think it's very clear why I noticed this in the sky. We've got this kind of like a vortex form, kind of going on an angle this way, while we have a triangle, a downward turned triangle element down here. What the heck is this? I don't think I can even begin. I mean, I could really, if I stretch myself, start to analyze this. But you know what? I'm going to leave this up to you guys and girls to check this out a little more on your own time too. It's just really bizarre. All right, now we're going to look to the south-southwest. Actually, apologies, I did not update the directionals on this. This is looking actually west-northwest. But we have this strange, very straight element happening at sea that got my particular attention, in addition to all these oddities happening around. That's just not normal cloud activity. How do we have this arm-like thing and finger-like thing coming up vertical, while we have these stray other like random objects moving along and straight pieces? Just the whole thing's weird. And even at A down here, this is looking like a clear triangular form. So I suspected cloaking activity and things going on. I'm just going to look at C.1, however, on this. Just again, this weird, really straight linear element, very crisp. And I don't know if it's coming out of a ring, like if it's coming out of a portal or something, or if this is an aspect of, this like craft or something. Anyway, we'll look again. We'll zoom in one more time. I took all color out just to really focus on what this thing is. I don't get at too much more, but maybe it inspires or evokes something in you that you kind of can identify with what that might be. I just have to say some type of cloak and craft. It's too precise, just to be a random cloud, and nothing would form like skinny and so straight, and level, in relation to everything else going around it. All right, now this is looking through an aluminum mesh screen, so things are a little distorted, but you get the gist. Definitely to naked eye, you could observe these strange bands, one over the other, layered over the other, and then something completely random and different down below. So again, I have to suspect artificial cloud activity of some type, and then especially where you have this thing coming in an angle to break this whole thing up, and a very specific, looks like a very dense piece, like a stick coming along here that's exposed. So we look at that with some enhancement to better pick out what's going on. And you can see there's definitely something much more solid and dense here. And this should not be, torqued out on angle here. And then we have a very like red-orange activity down here that's different than whatever's going on here. Again, look at the description box below for what could be causing that really more reddish tone. And then we're going to zoom in one more time just because I really wanted to look at this little stick piece. It intrigued me, and it seems again that we've got some cloaking material happening all about it, and that one little piece pops out exposed, and then a very different color signature down here from anything that's going on here. Just very curious. Now, this is looking at the Celtic Music Festival. I just happened to look on the ground, and it said that different people see little angel messages and whatnot. You might see a feather or a coin. And this just seemed very out of place. Yes, there were vendors around that had price tags and things, but this was like totally random on its own in the middle of nowhere. And it's usually a little sign like, hey, take a look. And so I often refer people to go look at for meanings of angel numbers, so like a numerology. Yes, that's 18, but it also could be the number 9, which is this number of completion. And there are a whole other host of meanings for any number you can think of. Go look at, just put an internet search for angel numbers, Joanne Sacred Scribes, or even if you just put angel numbers Joanne, I think it pops up. It's a wonderful Australian blog site. I think her name is Joanne Walmsley out of Australia. And you can just put in any number combination. I'm going to just rattle these off the top of my head. Well, like 148, like the show number, or 222, 555, 1111, 468, whatever you want. And it will break it down and give you positive aspects and meanings of that number and of repeating number sequences. So I recommend you go check that out, even for the number 18 if you're guided to. All right, now this was fun also at the festival. We have this enormous crocodile, coming down a slide into water. And I just came into knowledge. I was laughing because I just literally, like the day before, came into the knowledge. I write here, crocodile equals sea goat, if you know your zodiac signs. I just found out that Capricorn in Vedic astrology is represented by the crocodile in lieu of the sea goat. And there are other associations in Hinduism with the crocodile. It is connected with a god or goddess of love. So it's very interesting the more you look into different worlds and meanings and symbolisms for some of these things. All right, now this is important, and this is not my typical format, but again, I'm just guided to highlight it in this way. I'm going to read this straight out in case anyone's like running around and not really, looking at the visuals on the show. So here it goes. The next few photos document the most important capture I have made in the last 2 years to affirm without a doubt that planetary bodies are indeed entering and have already entered the Earth's neighborhood, in quotes. Heck, they are knocking on our door and ringing the bell at this point, namely the red one, the red planet. Divine timing is everything. These next photos confirm what she has been so exquisitely documenting and explaining on the YouTube channel called The Final Days, and prior to that, as I mentioned before, it was called Universal News Media. She has a lot of captures, I think, from 2018 and prior on that YouTube channel. So check that out, and note I'm sending you over there to look at her excellent direct evidence, not for the religious views, because they aren't my own, but if they are yours, great. Doesn't matter, I have stated before that I believe we are entering a time of a shifting of days from the 3D to the 5D, but not a final days per se. Okay, so no gloom, doom, no fear associated with this whatsoever. It's just a shifting to a higher frequency, and you could look at it as into a better, more beautiful world without all the negativity, drama, horror, terror, and all of that. We get to basically ascend and have a heaven on earth, so to speak, a new earth. All right, so now this is very important. So we're going to go into a very important sequence. So here, I was at the music festival having a great time, breathing freely and having fun, and hearing some fantastic music. And actually, in this particular moment, I was listening to some bagpipes being played, and something just said to look up and take a picture of the sun area. And I was started to notice kind of a rainbow effect happening around the sun. I didn't even see this sharp edge. Look at this breaking off here. That's very strange. I only noticed after, running this up on the show. But when I did the enhancements, I noticed all these wild colors, and I thought, okay, that's why I was supposed to look up. There's really something kind of happening here. Then I saw this sharp line. I'm like, okay, what is cutting that off? What is obscuring this view of this supposed sun? And then here is something, just get ready for it. A few minutes later, I guess 10, 20 minutes later, I look and take another photo, and I did not see this to the naked eye because it was so dang bright. Just held the camera phone up and took a picture because I knew I was supposed to. And then now looking at it, I notice, oh, holy crap, we've got letter A here. I start to see a red circle. Now that is not a lens flare. If anything, with this camera, it's the lens flare created is just like a tiny little white or cyan type little circle, not red. And in this case, there's also something in front of this, so it cannot be a lens flare because this little thing wouldn't be so white and pure. So we have an object happening behind whatever this is. Now, originally I thought this white circle, and it actually, we can hop over to the right and see it better with the enhanced version. Originally I thought, oh, that's our little fake moon or celestial object going around the quote-unquote, sun. But now I realize after looking at that Final Days show, YouTube channel, and I'll get to the specific one in a minute. After looking at one of her shows, she so perfectly explains what's going on that this could also just be a projector that then, beams up the illumination, because usually this expands so big and bright you can't see this object that's being concealed, this red object. Now again, this red object goes by many names. I have it in the description box below. It can be the red Kachina of the Hopi prophecy. It can be the red dragon. It can be all kinds of things mentioned in, whether you look in the Bible or wherever, Wormwood Star, could be a whole Planet X, Nibiru, whatever you've been looking into. It just means that there's a red planet coming into our neighborhood really close in now, as you can see, if this is the size of it where our sun should be. And again, you'll look at the Final Day show I'm going to point you to, if you dare. You'll be so happy you did to better understand the mechanics of how all of this is working in the sky. I'm not even going to try. She does a perfect job summing it all up. So here we have 8.1, and I'm like, oh, holy crap, I finally caught the red planet. I had glimpses of this in previous shows where I'm like, I think that's the red planet. I'm kind of getting, the outer shape of it, and I thought it was getting close. Now, in Final Days, she looks at aviation cameras, the FAA cameras, usually up in Alaska, northern Canada, North America, and finds these things. So I was lucky enough to catch this because I was in North Florida where the sky was relatively clear. In South Florida, there's just so much haze and stuff sprayed in the sky, you can't see it. So I had a rare moment to catch this thing, and I'm like in shock, and my own personal shock and awe right now, because I zoomed in and put more contrast and stuff, and you really start to see it. This is undeniably another body, right behind what's supposed to be the sun. And again, here you get the good sense of how they're just using artificial tech to create a glare out to hide this thing. Newsflash, I think a lot of us now know there's another planetary body coming in. And if not, really start to look at this. And don't be afraid. It's just, I would love to see this stand alone without all the haze and crap sprayed into the skies artificially to cover it up. It would be pretty wild to see, a beautiful planet. That's, I think, what we're here for, to witness some of these miraculous things. And here we go with some more contrast and, kind of exaggerated to really pull it out. Now, pay close attention to this right in here. Oh, just disregard this 8.1. It's a carryover from another slide. I didn't edit it out. Erase it out. Anyway, look at this. Look at some of the texture going on. That's also not a lens flare. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. It's not a lens flare. We got detail, we got craters, we got other kind of features of some type of planetary body coming in. That's what it is. All right, so here we go. This is what she caught on the final days. Now, this is from January 31st, 2022, and it's called "The Planet is Between the Earth and the Moon." That's really close. And yeah, it is. So here you get a little perspective. I don't know if this is in Alaska or wherever it is. I think so. But you get, relative to the terrain, you can see what we would normally be seeing if things weren't sprayed routinely in the skies to cover this up. And that's what, some of the trails you saw earlier in my photos, those trails are artificially created to create like this nasty, particulate where we can't really, it veils everything. We can't see things like this. Anyway, here's another view. Here's that little weird, object sitting in front, which is a projector of some type, and so, or effects of it. And look at, she's got all these like pock marks, craters, you can really see it. Now she takes the original footage off of the cams and applies just limited contrast over just the area where she's seeing stuff. And, voila, I mean, it's direct evidence. It's legit. She's catching these things. And now I have corroboration and can to attest to it that it's true. And she's been talking about this for way longer than I have. And look at this. And I'm grateful to her in this channel because I was able to put two and two together and find this for myself and know that that's what it is. Now, also, she talked about this thing, I think, rotates once every 5 hours or so. So, that's really pretty quick and not in sync with anything like our planet and our day rotating supposedly around in 24 hours. So, you're dealing with a different planetary body. And here's just another view. So, anyway, I highly recommend you go check her channel out and, cross check and then look for yourself and start taking some pictures if you're not doing it already. And then look later on what you're dealing with and get a program like, drop them into a program like PowerPoint or Photoshop. Gets just whatever tools that include color saturation. That's very important to be able to see these things pop out in your own photos. All right, so now this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. We have a beautiful Canadian goose sitting by a pond in North Florida. And I just, felt like, first of all, I want to say thanks for looking over at things here a while. And then I just thought I should just write this little thing on the notion of home and where is home. Going back to that link that I gave you about the caregivers and the forum to get help for people who are about to snap, honestly, or getting so depressed when dealing with people with dementia, loved ones with dementia, or Alzheimer's and things of that nature. One thing that happens with some people with dementia or Alzheimer's toward the end of their days is they keep wanting to go home, and the notion of where's home, I want to go home, home, and then sometimes it might be an address from their childhood, but sometimes they might be meaning home, home, like the call to go home to the heavenly home, wherever that may be for each person. And so I just, was kind of intrigued by this little Canadian goose and what's the notion of home for something like the goose. I'll just go ahead and read what I had here. So where is home for this one? Canada to Florida, everywhere in between, up in the air, upon the water, in fields wide open, earth brown, green, or just there, heart in tune with the earth, pure harmony in its being. So it's a reminder, what is home? I'm really tired of actually even seeing nationalities and flags. I mean, not to take away from the fun festivities coming up for St. Patrick's Day and Celtic Fests. Of course, we all want to identify with a region or a land, but I think we're entering into a new age where we just know that home is within us. It is within the heart space, and so wherever you take yourself, that's home. If you choose to see it that way or feel it that way, and if we are all one big family, whether we're happy or not. Hopefully, we are happy or getting there. If we just get in tune with each other and feel that pulse, feel that heartbeat, if you're familiar with the Schumann resonance, a lot of people talk about that. It's a certain frequency. I'm not even going to say it. I think it's like 8.34 hertz or 7.8 something hertz. But anyway, point is there's like a commonality of a beat that comes and emanates from the earth and that we can get into sync with and all become, kind of one in a good higher frequency aspect. So anyway, I just want to say that instead of the saying where it's home is where the heart is, I just want to say home is where the heart space is, and that's an energetic thing, not a physical, where your heart and body is. We're entering a time where we need to really feel into our greater connection. and you can't put a geographical, point on a map for that. All right, well, I think that's more than enough for now. Again, I'm happy to be back, and hopefully now I'm caught up a bit, and the next shows won't be as lengthy. But I wish everyone out there all the best. Tremendous peace and love to you. Lavender Sky Panther, bye.